Well, some of Donald Trump's nominees have also had to defend conflicts of interest during those committee grillings, none more so than the president-elect himself. Now, one man who knows a thing or two about congressional committees is Steve Pruitt. He served as staff director for the House of Representatives budget watchdog. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, Steve, as we know, these confirmation hearings for Trump's cabinet are well underway. Obviously, a lot of millionaires and billionaires with some very deep business ties. Which of his picks are really creating the most controversy when it comes to conflicts of interest?
Well, I think it's almost fair to say that every one of them is a walking billboard for conflicts. There are a couple, Nikki Haley, for example, to the United Nations, Ben Carson to HUD, who not only don't come into the administration with kind of business and investment portfolios that the others do, nor do they serve in positions where many of the decisions that they make will ultimately be, or could ultimately be viewed as conflicts. The reality is, this debate that we're seeing right now is based upon the traditional standards of measuring conflicts. And these guys that are being appointed by Trump all fit outside of those standard criteria.
Right, it's certainly a gray area that we're entering. So a lot of people are wondering then, what's the potential fallout then of picking some of these cabinet members who really have these deep business ties?
Well, I think you have to look at it in two ways. Number one, as cabinet officials, they're first and foremost duty-bound to apply the programs and the promises that were made by Trump during the campaign, or excuse me, President-elect Trump during the campaign. Secondly, as this session, legislative session evolves, there's going to be a lot of horse trading that goes forward, and how that plays out then will become the measurement of, are you making policy here or there that conflicts or potentially provides you or your fellow former business partners with some benefit. And I think in one sense, it's too early to get a good measure of that, because again, we're measuring people against the traditional standards right now, and these folks are writing a whole new set of standards that we're going to have to be mindful of.
Now, as we look at these standards, in terms of optics, what sort of message do you think it sends when you have President-elect Trump choosing not to divest his business interests, but then under ethics rules, his cabinet picks don't have that same option? Why not lead by example?
Well, that's been the question that everyone's been asking, and I think in all likelihood, we're not going to get that answer. In fact, if anything, we're going to see efforts to change the subject and keep it focused on the policies that he's going to pursue. Next Monday, when he starts, there's going to be a flurry of executive orders that are intended to change or reverse or restrain a number of the policies that President Obama put in place. That's going to basically send the press and everybody off into other directions, at least momentarily.
Now, Steve, I do just want to get to something. What happens if Trump's cabinet members have to form policy that affects the president's bottom line? What's in place to handle that?
Well, and the point I was about to make with you is that that's really the key. We don't have the kind of enforcement system in place, and I think members of Congress are going to have to make a serious effort to take another look at the enforcement mechanisms, because right now, just like with the requirements that they divest their holdings, they don't apply to the president, for example. Is this a policy that we want to apply across the board to everyone? And then ultimately, how do we enforce it is really the issue that we're struggling with, and I suspect we'll spend some time continuing to struggle.
Well, we'll certainly have to see how it all plays out, especially as Monday is fast approaching. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, Steve Pruitt, Managing Partner at Watts Partners.